Well, Dale, a proverbial game of two halves, that one. Anything but an ideal start. But give us your thoughts on that opening to the game.
Obviously, the opening game is incredibly disappointing. More the fact that just the organisation, the lack of contact on the ball in the box is obviously the massive disappointment, especially when you've been working on stuff like that in training. And overall, the first half was incredibly disappointing to a point where obviously there was told in no uncertain terms 20 minutes into the game in the stoppage, and then again at half time. So hence why the changes were made.
Perhaps seen the good and the bad of the Virtue Trophy games for younger players, haven't we? Because they're designed to be able to bleed the young players in, but also they've got to learn fast. And perhaps in that first half, if you did learn a few lessons.
Yeah, I wouldn't just aim it at the younger players. I think the team as a whole weren't performing. As a group, they just didn't seem to have any cohesion in terms of what they were doing in possession, out possession. And then the biggest, obviously, message at halftime was actually just the mentality of winning tackles, winning headers, winning your duels. And we weren't doing any of that. And obviously, the exact opposite happened second half, and it obviously keeps you in games then.
Obviously, you have a game plan to win every game, but at the moment you are still managing bodies. It looked like there was a plan for minutes for certain players, and particularly in those forward areas. Could you shed a bit more light on that?
Yeah. So obviously, Keon and Martin are still coming back from injuries, so it's important to look after them because they have had significant injuries. So yeah, those minutes were just managed within the game. It was always pre-planned, to be fair. So yeah, fortunately they've come through it unscathed and both got some good minutes under the belt.
You've already touched on a bit of half time, but can you shed a bit more light on what was said? It looked like a different performance after the second half whistle went.
Just the basics. Just do the basics, and you'd be surprised if you make teams defend how often you get opportunities from it, and that evident was the end. Just crosses, it gets the own goal. Just being positive and having that mindset of let's get the ball in the box, get bodies in the box, and positive outcomes happen.
It looked from the stands like that coming to action straight away. Was that the feeling on the sideline as well, that they'd taken that on board straight after half time?
Yeah, I think obviously the manager's message at half time resonated with the boys that came on. The three boys that came on made a massive impact, and they were the impetus. Obviously, the captain coming on, just a quick free kick, putting the ball in behind, getting a throw in the first minute. It set the tone for the second half, and like I said, they made a massive impact on subs, and that's obviously what you want.
Do you think that those experienced heads perhaps brought a bit more of that cohesion that you mentioned earlier to the game when they did come onto the pitch?
Absolutely. You could just hear them talking. Obviously, it's a quiet night, so you can actually hear the voices. That's what we wanted to hear first half with some of those inexperienced players and the experienced players within it. We didn't get that, unfortunately, but second half we got that, and like I said, the second half performance is what we wanted.
All management and coaching teams look for that bit of magic here and there to change games, and I know he brought it back by a goal, but Kean Spence managed to sprinkle a bit in that second half of his finish, didn't he?
Yeah, it's just disappointing how hard we have to work to get a goal. You look at the game on Thursday night, we scored two very, very good goals and concede two very sloppy goals. Same again tonight. Teams are not working hard enough to score against us, and we're having to work equally hard. So it was nice to get the own goal at the end, and ironically, and you think that's a bit of just reward because of the amount of pressure we're putting on him. So yeah, it's great for Kean to get that goal. Hopefully he'll take a lot of confidence from that because he's got that in his locker. Obviously we've seen that at Barra, hence why he was a big signing for us this summer. So we hope and we know, obviously listening to the dressing room afterwards, is going to take a lot of confidence from this game going into Saturday. So that's what we hope.
I was going to say, you've seen momentum play its part in games against us this season already, but you could kind of feel that coming. It's like say you make your own look, and that cross come goal for Joe Rafferty was evidence of that.
Yeah, you can take confidence from any win. It doesn't matter what competition. So that's what the boys have got to hang on. We spoke about it in there, but that's what you got to bottle up. You got to bottle that feeling when you win a game. What does it look like? What does it feel like? And then take that into the next week, and then momentum. That's how it starts.
And confidence for a young lad. I know it didn't count in the end, but Josh Ayres thought he got a goal, and we'll not go into the intricacies of why it didn't count, but he's in the right area, and that's something for him to hang on to.
I thought he made a big, big impact just through his energy, his endeavour, and his willingness to run forward. He was very unlucky with the goal. Obviously, the referee says it's handball. We're not quite so sure, but even the movement he makes for Raf's cross, in my opinion, creates the goal. So yeah, he made a big impact, and fair play to the boy because it was, like I say, it was a really, really good cameo.
And finally, Reece James just told me after 31 years that he's found out he's got a right leg on the end of his foot. It's good for him to get that goal at the end as well.
That's what we are working on these things with the players. Not necessarily saying JMO's right foot. However, there's an opportunity previously to Martin where he could shoot and he tries to go with his left foot. And unfortunately, the inconsistencies of the players are on show at the minute. But it was brilliant for someone like JMO to take that took the bull by the horns, for want of a better word, and get his goal. And we chuffed for Jamie because he's been a really consistent performer this season, and he got his just rewards at the end.
It's probably a bit of a provokes an obvious answer, but what's been the message in there to carry that into Northampton? How do you kind of keep that momentum going into the weekend?
A win, build on a win, build on that confidence. The second half performance, take that into the start of the next game, and go from there.
And luckily, it looked like everyone came through that okay. But just to touch on a couple of absentees, Ted Can was missing, and Liam Kelly as well.
Yeah, so Kel's took a knocking training the previous week, so that has been the case with him, and Ted is following concussion protocols. So yeah, that's the situation with him. That's why he didn't play.